Ready to go to the next step? Okay. So at this point, I'm gonna totally bail out of this. I'm done with the PO.
I've set everything up.
I've set everything up that I wanted to right now. Okay. Is there anything else that we had that we didn't?
Well, the bottle.
Ounces.
And we may have already had the bottle set in there, an amber 4-ounce bottle.
Let's check.
Because I think we set them in one other time.
You at least have the vendor in one of the things.
I think we had the bottle.
Let's just check. Okay, this is under a different vendor, Specialty Bottling Company.
Okay.
1 ounce amber bottle. Is that what it was supposed to be?
Well, we can leave it 1 ounce.
No.
If you get a 4 ounce? Okay, let's do 4 ounce.
Okay, so basically I would actually did we get it from this same Specialty Bottling Company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, why not?
So what I would do is we're actually going to create a new PO to put it underneath that vendor because the other one is actually vendor specific to our.
Okay. Well, do we want to just not do that or?
No, we can do it. That does whatever you want. Like it basically, I'm trying to help you out to show you some of the pieces.
Okay.
And what ends up happening is sometimes is you have a little bit of like lead-in time, like okay, I got to set these pieces up. But once you get them set up, especially if you turn this thing into a recipe, you'll be mixing and pulling and grinding and doing all that kind of stuff very quickly. But you have to kind of set the pieces up. It doesn't know what you really want to do. So,
okay.
Let's go ahead and do it. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to go vendor and put in bottle. There's Specialty Bottle. I'll create a PO for them. Basically, the reason is I have to add that 4 ounce bottle to it. Okay. And I'm going to say, yep, I have them. Do it. Now I'm going to come in here and I can't remember how I actually had that other. Watch this. We're gonna cheat real quick. I'm going to just copy just that little piece right there, and I'm going to say, oh, you know what? I actually need to add a new one. Does that make sense? Like I searched and it found the one, but I didn't really want that one. I'm going to say, oh, I need to add a new one. So now I'm going to actually paste that in, and I'm going to just change it, just so it's very similar as far as the
okay, yeah.
What's going on. I am going to monitor quantities, and this is going to be under bottles. And now I'll put in something just a little bit more easy to read. Okay, and then do we know a cost on these bottles per?
Yeah, let's say 35 cents, and let's sell them for 70. She's selling for 70. I don't think she's got much more.
Okay, great. Anything else? And this is an each, correct?
Each. This would be an each.
Okay, and we'll say add the product. Okay, so now this is great because we actually have certain vendors and certain non-vendors, but we're going to end up mixing all of this together to create something that's special for you. Okay?
Okay.
Great. So at this point, what we basically are going to do is we're going to say, okay, we need to create a recipe for this. Okay. So the reason we're creating a recipe is because you're going to be doing this again and again. If you're just doing it once and then you may not ever do it again,
Don't make a recipe.
don't make the recipe. Just hammer it in under what's called a build PO and then just run with it, okay? But if you're going to do it again and again and again and again, make a recipe. It'll just save you time, okay? So I'm going to go home, and then what we're doing is we're basically going to come here to the recipe and build section, okay? You can see it's very close to your inventory and very close to POs. Like, it kind of plays across this board right here. That's its friends, okay? We're going to go recipe and build, and we're going to say create a new recipe. These are some ones that I did just for fun. A gift basket, Big Mac combo, a general bid. And you can actually see build and sell, build and hold, build and sell, build and sell. Like, so just depending on how you're classifying.
And we're building and holding.
We're building and holding for your particular industry, okay? Create a new recipe. Okay, so right here I would recommend that you call this kitty call build or something like that.
Okay.
So kitty call, and do you want to just call it kitty call or do you want to call it what?
Okay, and so if you said build, that would mean that that's where my recipe, that was kind of
Yeah,
telling me that
yeah.
that's my recipe.
So all this is that you're able to search by this, and this is how you look it up. So
Okay.
how do you want to look it up? Because technically you're not selling this, if that makes sense. You're going to actually end up selling that part number that you already created called kid e-call.
Okay,
Okay?
Okay.
So this is just the name of the recipe.
okay.
Okay, and we're going to actually say it's a build and hold, and it's going to yield how many? One recipe yields what? And this is just for your information so that you know, like in case you needed to do a multiplier, like say one did 4 bottles and you're like, I'm going to do 20 bottles.
Yeah.
So you basically say, I'm going to multiply this recipe by 5. And then all of a sudden I'm able to do 20. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have no
One
idea.
Okay.
One is 5 or 6 bottles.
Yeah, I'll say 6.
Okay. So let's say that a yield does 6 bottles. And then if you wanted to, you could add a barcode number. You can actually add notes. Okay, you just say add the recipe. So basically at this point you would just create the main container. Alrighty?
Okay.
Click. Okay, it said, hey, guess what? I'm ready. What products do we want?
Okay, so we want the horsetail grass.
So watch this. HOR. Oh, sweet. Assign it to the recipe. Because it already exists, you're able to just grab it. Okay?
And do we
Comes-
have to tell how much of it we
Yeah,
want
yep.
to put in?
mhm. So this is going to be in a quantity. So this is an incoming ingredient. And how much do we want?
6.9 ounces.
6.9. We're going to use the current cost. And we're going to kind of close this cost field. I don't want to alter this on the fly right now. Okay. And I'm not even going to put any notes. I'm just saying add the item.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to say, all right, let's add another item. What else do we have?
Oat straw.
Okay, that was too much, so I'm going to see what we had there. Oat. There we go. Assign to the recipe. How much do we have here?
Okay, we have 3.6 ounces.
Okay, and we're going to say lock that down. Do it up. Okay, what's next?
Comfrey root.
Does this make sense how we're kind of just popping through this?
Yeah,
real
that
quick?
makes it really easy
Okay,
this
what's
way.
your quantity?
4.8.
Okay, we'll just lock down that cost as well and do it. So it automatically knows that you're already in ounces because you told it
Because I
originally.
told it that's what I
That's
said.
what you're in, okay?
Okay. Lobelia. It's L-O-B.
It's L what?
L-O-B.
Well, it found some other stuff under it.
Yeah.
Okay, sign it to the recipe. What do we got here?
And this one is 1.2 ounces.
1.2.
See. And so you need to make them all either
Well,
flexible.
what it does is that if you're actually, it depends on how flexible you want your little process and whatever, okay?
Okay.
So basically we're doing fine. Right now your total ingredient cost would be $7.23.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Now we need an output. So if we're doing a build and hold, we basically said, I need. What am I going to get? A positive. Like instead of an ingredient, I need an output.
like a bottle or what?
Yeah, like 6
Okay, but you have
bottles.
to also put vegetable glycerin.
Okay, great, no problem. My bad. I'm not looking at the recipe. And how much?
17.5 cups.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really expensive part.
Okay, so this one actually came in cups versus ounces.
Right.
Okay, and so look at this right here. Negative, 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 negative.
Because I didn't have anything
No,
in
when I
inventory.
go to build it, I'm going to be pulling. Does that make sense?
Oh,
I'm going to be
okay.
subtracting, and then eventually I'm going to come up with a new positive, which is going to be my output. Which
Okay.
technically this one right here, it's not quite ready to like see this little status pending. It's
Okay.
basically saying I don't have an output yet. Like we're pulling and pulling and pulling, but
What am I putting it
what
in?
are we going to become? What are we making?
Yeah,
What are we
yeah.
going to do? So Let's add it. Okay. And so this one
So
would
then
be
the last thing is the bottle that I have to put in.
okay. So if you need bottles, yep. My bad. Ah. Okay, so we want 4-ounce
We want
bottles.
the 4-ounce bottles.
Okay, great. And how many of these? So 6 of those?
I think we said 6. Yeah.
Okay. And we'll just add that item. So basically we're going to have 6.9 ounces of this much of this, this much of this, this much of this, this much of this, and it's going to end up creating what?
Kitty cough.
Okay, so right now we're at 2246, okay?
Okay.
Just to give you an idea. And we're going to come in here and we're going to say kid, and we're going to say assign to the recipe. Now this one, we've skipped over this little box a bunch of times. This one is now going to switch.
Oh, to output.
Click. This is going to be output.
Okay.
And so kitty call is currently in ounces. And if we have 4 ounces per bottle, and we wanted 6 of these, we have to just kind of do some little math. This is actually
Yeah, because it's not going to work out quite right,
this
is it?
is going to create, well, what happens is we didn't really know where we were headed.
Yeah.
So we might have to alter it and fix it, but I would basically say this is going to create 24 ounces of.
Okay, let's say 20.
So 24 ounces with 17 cups. I think our math is off. Anyway, just so you know, I would do that. Okay.
Okay.
And we're going to say. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of let this one be a little bit more open in case we need it because it's the output.
Okay.
Okay. And add the line item.
So I have to have ingredients, then I have to have an output.
Correct. Okay. So basically, here's your. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Take it, create
and
it.
come up with that.
And the difference is it an input or is it an output?
Okay.
In a way. Okay. So now, technically, we could build this thing, and it would actually create product that we could actually then sell.
Okay.
Type of deal. So all we've done is just created the recipe now. Do you want to use the recipe?
Sure.
Okay, so technically the other piece that we're missing is we never loaded in our original, how much did we originally have?
Right.
But that's okay, we can come back to that. Let's go ahead and use the recipe.
Okay, let's use the recipe.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to actually run this under us because we're creating some kitty calls. So I'm going to pull up our company, and I'm going to say I'm going to create a PO. You have to have the permission, and you have to have this little thing that says internal build. Okay, it's actually a special permission, but it's a PO type. It basically says I'm going to mix and blend and do all this kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to click there, and I'm going to come down and say making kitty call. Okay, I have no clue how much this is going to be. So
Okay,
we're going to actually
know.
click here. Now, the interesting thing is I actually have an extra little piece here. Like, normally I just have the normal search bar, but it's like, whoa, do you want to, is this tied to a recipe? You're like, oh yeah, it sure is. And that recipe was called Kid something, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to say
So
search
the
the
search
recipe.
was kitty called build, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
build prep. Yep.
Okay.
So basically it starts loading in all of my pieces as far as what's going on. So basically, because we left this one open, I could modify it, if that makes sense, to kind of like, okay, what is my actual output cost here? And I have 24 of them. So I would actually have to do like a little bit of
Figuring.
yeah, math to kind of like help me know what it would do.
Change what you need to get it.
Yeah. Because it's doing 24, if it was just one that it was outputting, it'd be really easy because then it'd be like, oh, it's
Right.
$22. But
Right.
it's like, oh, 24 to 22. Like, you just basically would do some math. I'm not going to pull out a calculator. I'm just going to fake it and say, see, I think that our numbers are slightly off. It's kind of mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's okay. Let's go like this. $4 per. Okay. And we'll say do the build. So on PO number 54, it basically pulled in, and it actually used my $4, and it says, okay, hey, here's what we're at, and we're off a little bit. And in order to fix this, we basically need real information.
Right, right. Okay.
But it would be pretty easy to fix if I had to, and I could actually say, hey, I'm actually going to just change you up right here. I'm going to edit the main,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to say, hey, you know what, you're actually just $73.54, and edit that PO. So basically at this point, what we have is we actually have 24 ounces. Basically, we would need to look at this and kind of be like, okay, how are we going to actually put this thing together? Like,
Right.
and we were just kind of doing it in the seat of our pants, but that's kind of some of the tools, and we just would have to kind of like get in there and like really tweak it out to really make it
Right,
exactly.
right. But that's really cool that you can
Yeah.
do a recipe like that, particularly if it's something you're doing all the time.
Well, the nice thing is when we did the build, it just built it right here, and it automatically pulled in those quantities, and
Yeah.
you can actually multiply it. Watch this right here. We're still on the same thing. If I actually went here and I said, go back to the kitty thing, and I said, do a build prep on this, well, here's all of your numbers.
Uh-huh.
And depending on how you actually wanted to make this multiply out, say you wanted to do it times 12. If you
Yeah.
submitted this, what I'm going to show you is how it's going to
Oh, it would
affect
change
these
all that?
numbers.
Okay.
So times 12, it
Oh,
actually did all the
cool.
math for you, and then you can technically be like, click. You can go to
Okay.
this. Anything that has a zero quantity wouldn't be used as well. Like say for instance there was a piece in your recipe and you're like, oh, I didn't add nuts this time or whatever. Okay,
Uh-huh.
Zero. So basically it does the whole recipe minus the little piece that you said zero on.
Okay.
So like we're just playing, but if you're okay with it, watch this. 0 and 0. So I'm just going to add these pieces. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
There's also these little indicator buttons that will kind of help you like,
Up and down.
oh, I upped
okay.
that a little bit, or I changed that. If you hit do the build, it does the build according to what you told it to. It skips some of the different little pieces.
Okay.
So there's no comfrey in this second little session. Basically, we're just playing right now anyway, but recipes are pretty handy if you really want to preload some stuff. The other piece to a recipe, that's build and hold, and we'd have to get into it and really have our information to really make it exact, but the tools are there. It's just a matter of kind of tweaking them so that, because we had some disconnects. We're using 17 cups of this and we're only creating X number of pounds.
Yeah.
We have some major disconnects, and so like our math is not even close to there, but
Yeah.
once we know, we can get it detailed where we want it to. I'm going to show you real quick a build and sell. Okay, we don't have to
Okay.
build it. It's a very, very similar process, but it's on the invoice side
Oh, okay.
of things. And this is pretty handy. So I'm going to start at home and say I actually went right to a recipe right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's all my ones that I have. And why don't we just try this gift basket one right here, okay?
Okay.
So if I do a build prep on this, I currently do not have a shopping cart. There's no little cart icon right there.
What does that mean?
It says, hey, I have an active cart set up, okay? So right here, this one says I have 3 scoops, 3 forks, 3 spoons, and 3 of some generic temp type thing, okay? So I can change any quantity I want, or I can multiply it. Like the multiplier works here as well. And what it does is it changes all of my values as far as this goes. I can change any sort of details here. I can change prices, costs. I can do anything I want if I needed to, depending on which settings I have left open. When I say do the build, it basically says, hey, how do you want to do this? I say, yep, let's do it. And it pulls it right in. Okay? So basically, I can preset different pieces that I wanted to add to my cart. This is very handy. Like say, for instance, something like this. Let's do a quick search for. We'll just do this one right here. So this one has zeros on all of this stuff. How much for your land would you want to do? Like basically, you see how it's kind of prepped and ready. It's just it's virtually asking me questions. Okay, we're going to do 10 grand for the land. Small. So your concrete and framing, that's going to be 30,000. Like I'm faking these numbers, but basically.
Right, but it's already
You know what?
there.
They're going to do their own trades. The trim out, they're going to do their own trade. And outside, I actually have to have about, there's $2,000 that somebody else is going to do. See how I just kind of quickly altered a few of those things? If I needed to trade it right here, like right here, outside, I'm like, Johnson's, plumbing, whatever. Like basically, I can add whatever I want, and when I say do the build, like I already had an invoice created, but here's my new pieces, okay? The land, the concrete, the framing, and it just virtually allows me to just pop things in there really quick, but I already have this little setup process. Like this could work really slick, like, how many of this? How many of this? Like you're literally just walking down the little
Yeah, if
thing.
you're always doing the same thing.
And then you could build it. That's a just in time, so that's build and sell. Build and sell goes right to the shopping cart, and whatever you add, it'll pull it in. If you change a quantity to a 0, or if you up a price, whatever, it automatically will help you do that. So it's pretty handy that way.